Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the most innovative session. Yes, our very first panel discussion for the day on the topic changing trend in EdTech. So, what are the new trends that we have in EdTech? ChatGPT, yes. What are the other tools that is available on AI? There are a lot of various tools, right? So the next panel discussion is going to be how to prepare students with ChatGPT and other AI tools that are available. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll just give 1 minute for the team to set up, and I would like to go ahead and welcome the moderators and the speakers for the same. With that, ladies and gentlemen, first up, I would like to go ahead and welcome our very first moderator. But before I welcome the moderator and the panel, remember, if there is any question and answer session, I request you to keep the questions very short, and this session will be about for 30 minutes from now. Ladies and gentlemen, the very first session, the very first panel discussion for the day, I would like to go ahead and welcome the moderator, Mr. Anant Krishna B, the CEO of Operation Carolex Group of Schools. Can we have a huge round of applause for Mr. Anant joining us in on stage? And along with that, we are also going to have about 9 set of speakers joining us in. A very warm welcome. With that, the very first speaker on the panel we're going to have is Dr. Anirudh Gupta, the CEO of DCM Group of Schools. Can we have a huge round of applause for him? I want all of you to put your hands together. A little more louder will be great. Just bring in the energy in the house. Up next, we also heard him in the very first inaugural session. Ladies and gentlemen, I take the moment out to welcome Mr. Preetham Kumar Agarwal, the founder of Hello Kids, to join us on stage. Can we have a huge round of applause for Mr. Preetham walking right there? Up next, I'm going to go ahead and welcome Shada Chandrasekharan, Director of Whitefield Global Schools, to please join us in. And along with that, I request Dr. Brajesh Karya to please join us on stage, the CEO of Singhania Education, and along with that, Dr. Kritsarai, the co-chair of Satluj Group of Schools, and Dr. Asha Singh, the founder and chairman of Creative Kids, Anumonga, the president of TAISI, and along with that, Mr. Prithvi Banswai, the founder director of and the secretary of Karnataka Council of Preschools, the founder director Roots Institution, and last but not the least, Mr. Chirag Agarwal, director of Early Vention Chain of Schools. Can we have all 9 of you on stage, please? Can we have a huge round of applause for our very first moderator session? Leader Summit 2023. This event is powered by Brains Wonder, and this event is brought to you by MindSage International in cooperation with Universal Mentors Association.
Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Am I audible? Thank you very much. A very pleasant morning in Bangalore. We are used to the dry mornings of Ahmedabad and the western part of the country, but this is a very pleasant place to be. A place where I started my career, all the more important for me to be speaking good and speaking well. So, thank you for this invite, Universal Mental Association. Thank you, Sandeep ji, and thank you, Manish ji, and thank you, dignitaries, for being here. 9 o'clock happens to become too early for a conference to start, but then I understood that this kind of an audience can only be accommodated if you start at 9 o'clock. So, well justified. Today's topic is also well justified in today's times. Changing trends in EdTech, a beautiful topic. It reminds me of a short saying of Vladimir Lenin. The gentleman is the first Soviet leader of the erstwhile Russia. The Soviet Russia. In somewhere in 1917 or 1918, the gentleman said, there are decades when nothing happens. And then there are weeks when decades happen. So it happened so true, when the COVID came. And we Indians are well and good adapters of everything, whatever comes our way, right? So I'll be talking about that while we go across the session. 5 flat days, the entire teaching fraternity adapted something called as Zoom, adapted something called as Meet and whatnot, right? Very honest question. How many of us here really were glued and tuned to the Zooms and the Meets of the world before the pandemic, or the day the pandemic started, or the day the lockdown was announced? How many of us were glued to it? How many of us knew to actually use all this stuff? A very, very honest answer, please. None of us. Beautiful. All right. So I am a Java, developer by my qualification. I happened to use one of these tools for one of my board meetings way back in 2017, but then thereafter there was no need, so I also didn't use it. So the first time when I had my hands on Zoom, I fumbled. That's the honest reply to my own question, right? The point is this technology new to us, particularly to India? How many of you feel that the AIs of the world, the ARs and the VRs and the robotics of the world, is really new to us? How many of you feel? All right. Have you heard of something called as parallel reality? All right. So let me first tell you what is parallel reality. You go to Detroit Airport today, there is a big, huge screen the moment you walk in. And it will, if my name is Anantha Krishnan, it will say, "Welcome, Anantha Krishnan." Big, damn huge screen. In size, it would be about 70, 80 feet long and about 30 feet in height. That big a screen. And when I see it, it will say, "Welcome, Anantha Krishnan." That's the beauty. Now, when Preetham goes, parallelly along with me, he will see, "Welcome, Preetham." When Chirag goes, he will see, "Welcome, Chirag." So 100 people walking together to Detroit Airport, 100 people will say, see only and only their own name. "Welcome, so-and-so, 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 so-and-so." How is it possible? How is it possible? Is this technology new? First of all, tell me, yes or no? I'm saying no. This technology is not new to India, at least. In our ancient times, our gurus were visible to multiple people at the same time. How many of us believe it? I also believe it. Right? Sai Charitra, it describes that Sai was visible at multiple locations, multiple times, to the same eye, to different eyes. That's parallel reality. Right? I'll just tell you, while we go ahead, after these people speak, I'll tell you how it happens, right? Going ahead, a couple of times Mahabharata was recalled today, one by Kulbhushan sir and one more speaker actually spoke about Mahabharata. If the Mahabharata war was supposed to happen today, how would technology assist the Mahabharata war if it was to happen today? Just close your eyes for a moment, be with me. I'm going to make you visualize the Mahabharata battlefield now. Right? So the screen opens, Sanjay and the king Dhritarashtra, they are sitting there in a big, sadhan, right? Now Sanjay is wearing a VR glass, right? And with this, after this VR glass, Sanjay flows multiple drones with high-tech cameras and laser mics into the battlefield. All these drones are equipped with AI capturing sensors. And these AI sensors, they capture the battle the way it is, and the relay is done through high bandwidth internet to the AI center back at Kurukshetra or at Hastinapur. The accumulation of this different pictures and amalgamations happen, and then it is given in the form of a brain stimulator back to Sanjay, and then Sanjay coordinates it with the voice and explains it to Dhritarashtra. If Mahabharata was to happen today, this is how it would happen. So we have seen it 5,000 years ago, now we are seeing it again, right? In a different form, we are speaking about it in a different form. So if our people were using it then, so it's not something new to us. So it should not be a difficulty in using and inculcating it. So that is a fundamental line I wanted to bring in, that it should not be difficult to inculcate and to use it in the classroom. Right? With that, let's go straight away to the panel. Senior academicians here, Mr. Prithvi Bansal, we have, Mr. Prithvi Banwasi, we have Mr. Krit Sarai from the Satluj Group of Institutions. We have Mr. Preetham Kumar Agrawal for Hello Kids, founder of Hello Kids. 860 schools in India and Bangladesh. Mr. Krit Sarai runs the Satluj Group of schools spread across Punjab, spread across Himachal and northern parts of the country. I think more than 10 schools if I'm not mistaken, right? Uh, Chirag Bhai he's the director of early care and early venture for the corporate daycare and has more than 10 centers if I'm not mistaken, right? Then we have Dr. Chetna Keni of the Orinico Academy. She's the founder of that place. And we have Dr. Aisha Singh, who is the founder and chairman of the Creative Kids group of schools. Now, my first question, sir, Prithvi sir, to the director of Roots Institutions. Technology is changing rapidly, right? AI, ML, and data sciences, they are the new things, right? What do you think is the importance of these technology in the classroom? Second is, while I say that technology is not new to us, many of the teachers here, when I asked the first question, have you used technology before the pre-COVID eras? The answer was no, right? From using technology to mastering technology, it takes time, right? So with the rapid developments happening, how do you see these teachers inculcating technology into the classroom first thing? So two questions for you, sir.
Hi, good afternoon everyone. Was supposed to be good morning some time ago, this panel discussion. Yes, technology is very good. We are all used to it, and like Sir said, we are the immigrants. We are learning how to use it. Today's children are already born with it, so there's not so much for them to learn. But just 3 days ago, we landed in the moon. Were those people who were sitting there and scientists, did they go through technology in their childhood, in their school education? Did they? No. Did you go through technology in school? No. Aren't we all achievers? Why do you need technology in school for children? I had a big complaint when a couple of years ago there was a call saying why teachers were so much of a hurry to take technology into the homes and enslave children with computers and Zooms. I'm not against technology. Our children know better than us. My son made a first animation film when he was about 8 years, but that's back at home and it's got nothing to do with education. He learned something skill-based. But do we need technology? Yes, we need technology. But for whom? For the teachers. Today, AI and Chat GPT can generate images and a storyboard for you to show your children. But not for them to generate a storyboard and finish their homework. Right? So what is the need of a teacher if everything is going to be done by AI and ChatGPT? We are going to become obsolete. We made the mistake of taking the school to the home in pandemic. Our children would have learnt so much better with parents, grandparents, or without their help. It was just 2 years. The kind of damage that we have done. There used to be a 20% of the classroom was tending towards being special. Now there are 80% tending to be special. 80% don't know peer activity.
The higher education panel is starting in the next, room. So people from the higher education who have a panel can kindly join the other room, please.
Yep. So I understand that yes, it is important for the child to be educated, but systems AI and ChatGPT is not for children. It is for us adults definitely to learn, use it to bring in materials for children, but definitely not directly for the child, especially in a school. I think one of the speakers very clearly said that no tuitions or additional classes during school time. No tech should be added along with it during school time.
That's an interesting analogy, I should say. Though I somehow feel that the next two speakers are much glued on to the fact that technology should be there. He's already said technology should be there, shouldn't be there. So this is going to go into a good, nice discussion panel. All right. So, Sereza, you have multiple schools, right? And you have the experience of being in Europe for a very long time. Yourself, the whole family is from Europe and America. You have brought in the best from these places. What is your take on technology? One. Second is, the gentleman just about said that had these these students been off from technology while the COVID was there, they would have learned far more better during the COVID period, right? Do you agree to that fact, right? And do you also feel that technology should be used by the students? If so, yes, how? If you can kindly put light onto it.
Thank you, fellow educators. Chat GPT, for example, we're talking about that. Do we really know the meaning of that? It's chat generative pre-trained transformer. So like ready-made things with little emotional connect. You know, we were talking about emotional intelligence. Madam Taylor was talking about it. So basically, technology has to be used. We should use technology, but not abused, misused, diffused, or confused. That's very important. Technology, long ago, I remember my bachelor's in education days, there used to be one subject called IT. Nobody knew about it. The professor was nice. We used to go to the classes, optional. But slowly I've seen that technology is a part of our academic circle now, and we have to study. It's very important. The overuse is my concern. That's the only concern we have as educators. For example, in ChatGPT, some students presented some essays and they forgot to delete the last paragraph where ChatGPT says, verify the content before the primary source and all that. So blindly following is also not very nice. But things are easy. But sometimes I do feel that are the students going to work a little harder? Are they going to write the essays? Will there be creative ability if everything is going to be so ready-made? Our PhD students are, in Europe, plagiarism is a great concern. But ChatGPT doesn't look like, somebody has copied. You get the answers in a very simplified manner. So that's one thing. And AI, of course. In our schools, we teach all these things. It's a part of the curriculum. The students do enjoy that. But we tell the teachers to make sure that the creative content of the students does not go down. They should write on their own. In CBSE or any ICSE board or any other board, the students have to write down the questions and the answers on the answer sheet. There won't be any chat GPT over there to help them. There won't be any AI to help them. So we have to prepare them for that as well. How to answer a long essay question, for example. These kind of points are very important, especially English teachers. It's very easy to download an essay and get the job done, but when they're going to write the answer, so that's where their abilities and the teacher who's teaching them, what they're going to teach, that's going to be very important. Thank you.
Very well said, sir. The right mix of all intelligence applications and the teacher standing there in the classroom is what is the most important factor for the development and benefit of the child. That's what sir said in a nutshell. Taking the discussion further, Mr. Pritam Agrawal, he is the founder of Hello Kids, 860 schools. First thing first question, how do you manage so many number of schools? Without a chat GPT being there, you have been managing for 17 years, that's what you said now. I heard all that, you got married because somebody wanted you to be married so that you can take care of their children. कितना अजीब बात है नहीं? आपकी शादी हो रही है because you won't take care of somebody else's children. I love that stuff. Anyway, so 860 schools. One is, do you see the influence of such tools of ChatGPTs helping you in administer the 860 schools? First question. Second question, you have a chain of, I should say, foundational schools, right? Children of that age are not onto a computing on a daily basis, right? What are the challenges, even if you have tools, implementing them into the classroom is a big time challenge. How do you actually work upon it? What do your teachers do onto it, right? That is my first question to you. Once you answer this question, I have an extended question which I'll put it only after you answer this question.
A very good afternoon, friends. And being from the early childhood education, and when we understand this chat GPT or the AI, we as educators has to understand in terms of using these technologies in terms of managing it rather than making it in terms of how my colleague has said, Prithvi said that we don't want them in the classrooms in terms of is a part of education to them. See, early years, the child is too young, 1.5, 2 years. I know they are born with gadgets in hand, and even the mothers are feeding food with the mobiles in hand. But friends, trust me, that social connect, that social growth, that physical growth, which is really important, is only from that preschools and the playtime. Playtime which is a physical playtime. So I'm really not talking about anything to be used during the classroom to understand the technologies, but yes, in terms of assessment, right? When you are talking about individualized classrooms, or to see how even Brain Wonders is talking about, to understand the child's growth perspective, how you are using technology in that space, yes, we are okay with it, and we are trying to understand that part also. Second thing is, when it comes to safety, there are a lot of devices has come that as soon as a child is going out of an area, a child is, as you said, an example of, as soon as I'm entering to a screen, he is talking about welcome Preetham, right? How can you use such kind of basic technologies to in terms of safety, because the child is too young to understand that safety points. So there was a technology which just came after this pandemic, was there was a sensor attached to this, and when a child is coming, it is giving an alert, and it is alerting with the names also, right? So that kind of technologies, yes, we can bring it to the small young generations in the classrooms.
Got that. So administrative wise, I understand that these technologies can impact a lot, right? Safety, security, developmental processes, all that is all set and fine. But when it comes to the classroom, right? So if I put a simple, I was wanting to, find out if ChatGPT teaches Pythagoras theorem in a different way, right? So the moment I said Pythagoras theorem, it gave blah 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 blah. It kind of just typed the entire page to me. I really don't know whether that content is correct or incorrect. I'm not a technical person. I'm not an educator per se. I'm an operations guy. But if I just simply take that and replicate it into the classroom, is that going to be right stuff, right content? It's a big challenge. How do you cater to that challenge?
All right. When you're talking about challenging of the content, let me give you a small example of my experience during the COVID time itself. So proud to say that we have supported almost 5,000 COVID patients during that 2 months of the peak COVID times, and I was managing that platform. Chirag was a very good part of mine during that time. Friends, understanding that information was the first task for a management, to understand what the patient needs it. Need B positive blood at Bangalore. Need means what? Are you looking for it, or you are ready to give it to somebody, right? Need is both the side, right? I'm looking for it, also you may be looking for it. So when we talk about challenges, understanding that communication, that word and that GTP is more important. Validating that message. As soon as I got a message, right, that I'm looking for something, you have to write I am looking for something, not looking for a B positive for this thing. Because, and when you are talking about a validity, as we all are using WhatsApps, you are keeping on forwarding messages which is even 2 years old. Somebody is expecting 50,000 donation for a heart operation, and he has got 50 crores of rupees in his bank account, because that message is rolling over the country for the last 2 years. So in terms of classrooms also, understanding that information, whichever the ChatGPT is giving it to you, how you will validate. And I urge all these educators that it should be a part of our national curriculum itself, how to validate a data or information. We should teach them from that early years, not even the early years, maybe the primary years itself. As soon as you got information, whatever comes to Times of India, if they do a mistake also, that information was wrong, they announce it after 3 days or a month, that this information we gave on the Times of India so and so date, we are correcting it to some XYZ news. Friends, we need to understand what is that source, what is that information, is that is validate, or somebody do not come to you and say that this was on 1st of April and it was a joke.
So simply putting it, be cautious of what you use.
Yes.
Right? Cross-check it, cross-verify it before you put it into direct use in the classroom. As simple as that. Thank you very much, sir. Chirag bhai, you are known to have started the first set of corporate daycare in Bangalore and other places. I see daycare as an extension of a home, right? So, at a situation where at homes people say, बहुत technology मत दो, बच्चा खराब हो जाएगा, बिगड़ जाएगा, or it will hamper the child's brain development and physical mental development, right? The cognitive skills. You to keep them busy in the corporate sector, to keep the moms and the fathers, in their offices. The children have to be kept in a proper, in a oriented space, and for that you use technology. How do you regulate the use of technology there?
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, it's a very valid point that these days, in order to keep the child occupied, parents, educators, or anybody who's taking care of the child does use a lot of technology around. It may be in form of videos, it may be in form of other applications that we use to keep the child occupied, to keep the child busy. But of course, it does have its own positives and negatives. We all saw that a 2-year-old child was in front of a laptop screen, or a 3-year-old child was in front of a laptop screen during the pandemic times when the schools were physically closed. It all depends on how much is too much. That logic is something that we need to understand. And of course, talking from the early years perspective, technology is something which is really important. It is the future of education. I would say that education will still continue, but education without technology will be moved apart. So yes, regulating the time for which we are sitting with our laptop screens or with a phone screen is very important. As my other co-panelist also mentioned, the physical interaction with a child or the social emotional interaction with a child is something that is the most important in the early years, which technology, come what may, cannot give. The physical interaction which a teacher can give a child. Talking about an example, during pandemic we did experience at our school, wherein 2 whole years of online education, distance education was going on, and when this particular student, he entered the classroom for the first ever time, he hugged the teacher. The teacher and the child had tears in his eyes when he saw that this person who's standing here is actually existent, and she was not somebody who was just there in the laptop screen or the TV screen where I was seeing all this while. The child went and hugged her. He physically touched her, felt her hand, that okay, this person is for real and not something that was virtually there. So this kind of a physical interaction is something which definitely has a step of more advantage when compared to technological learning. So what I would say is a teacher, probably in future we all say that AI is going to replace teachers and all that, but I would not say that AI is going to replace teachers, but it is, AI is definitely going to replace teachers who do not practice or who do not know how to use AI. So that is the thing which we follow at our schools.
So the panel is going even more interesting. So 2 gentlemen here feel it is technology, and 2 gentlemen here feel it is a teacher. So we are at an even position now. So let's see what the ladies have to say. So taking this socio-emotional development part that Chirag Bhai said further, Dr. Aisha Singh, founder and chairman of the Creative Kids. Your name itself has creative skills, brand name itself. So, in enhancing creativity, what do you see is the role of technology, right? And one more thing I want to ask you is, when it comes to technology, why is AI being spoken so much? Why is not something like a IoT or a data science why are the other tools not or big data? Why are they being left aside? And why is only AI being given so much of an importance? Why is it that ChatGPT is the only word we remember? We don't remember any other words. You ask anybody here how many AI tools you know? 1, 2, 3 maximum. Which is the first tool? ChatGPT. Where are the other tools gone? Why don't we know it? Is it branding or is it something else? What's your take on it, please?
Namaskara, Bengaluru. So we have seen from floppy disk to G drive, yeah, from Chacha ki Dukhan to the supermarket to the Swiggy, Okay, in the midnight blues also we get deliveries. We have seen from Rediff Mail, Yahoo Mail to Gmail. Yeah, so we have seen this transition. We have also seen from the Dabba Onida TV till now LED. Yeah, from the Reliance phone now with the smart iOS phones. We have to understand one thing is that change is always there and it's a constant thing and it fascinates us. We being social animals, we love fascinating. If I say anything about a toothpaste, first we get the slogan. Yeah, if you say about Onida, you get a slogan. So we have always labeled it with the brand names. And in our country, we have been very patriotic to our brands. We have been like, it's like this is very good for us and we always talk about it. You go to any events, earlier it was like, we used to talk somewhat about like other people, iski shadi nahi hui, uski shadi hui. Now we talk about technology, now we talk about the schools, now we talk about the Swiggy deliveries. So we have lot of things which keeps on coming, right? When we talk about AI, ChatGPT is very, everyone, it's not a kind of a jaw dropper to anyone. Everyone knows. Even a 7-year-old knows about ChatGPT. Why is this? When the question is asked, it's very simple. Whatever fascinates us is always on our eye. It grabs our attention completely. Yeah. And the thing is, you need to know the right prompts. You put a prompt, ChatGPT answers. One day, one 7-year-old child comes and tells me in my school, "Ma'am, my mother made a ragi cake." So I asked, "That's nice." Then he said, "My mother didn't knew the recipe. She was supposed to call her best friend, but they both fought. Instead, she used ChatGPT and asked the recipe." So even the homemakers are also thinking about the ChatGPT. Now you understand that everything which is readily available. Now earlier, we all loved to go into Chacha ka dukhan because we used to go for a walk, play with some couple of friends, have some chai with some of our neighbors and come back. Then the supermarkets came, we were fascinated. Everything under one roof. Yeah, we don't have to go to shop by shop. Now we went to supermarkets. Now when we went to supermarkets, we were mesmerized. What a look, everything in the AC and the fruits look fresh, vegetables look fresh, and there are so many brands which we are not even aware. They were everything on the shelf. Yeah, we didn't see those brands in the TV too. And then came Swiggy. Now we don't even know restaurant names. We only know the menu. Charts khana hai, charts dalo, we will come in.
Is that not the fear? Is that not the fear? The child may not know the teacher's name going forward.
We have to understand one thing. ChatGPT is already here. AI is already here. You accept it or you don't accept it. It is there. Adaptability. Adaptability is important. Limiting it, how much, what we have to do now. We all say, we never used phones when we were children. We used to play and our children always glued to the phone. We introduced. It was we. Right? We are the ones who gave. So it is again limiting, evaluating, examining. There is nothing called as in fear. We have to understand change is constant. We need to adapt. We never thought.
So Dr. Saab, you are pro to technology.
Absolutely pro.
Super. Thank you. I'll take the same discussion further on to Dr. Chetna Kaini. She is Dr. Saab is the founder of Orunico Academy. Now, Dr. Saab, I think in the session you will be seeing that my Dr. Manjula Puja Shroff has launched a AI clone of herself. The AI clone will be. You want to speak maybe. So these things coming in, I have a fear. Will I be talking to the clone going ahead or will I be talking to my boss going ahead? So the students also, the more you put them onto technology, there would be a mental pressure on them, right? And you being at the foundational years of children, it's all the more important that they get a very balanced mind, at least if their foundational time gets over, class 3, 4, 5. Mind has to be very, right? The right mix of everything is very important. As a school, how do you ensure what is right, what is wrong? And to where and to what extent do you limit this technology usage in your school?
Namaste everybody. I come from a tech corporate background. For more than a decade I've worked for top corporations, and then I set up my school, which was in answer to my question, to find a school that will fit my child's needs when he's 25 in 2025. So I always think 25 years ahead. So my answers are going to be something in line with that. So like ma'am said, technology is here to stay. Change is constant. We cannot run away from this. The best thing we can do is to embrace it. And how do we embrace it? While keeping in mind what we already know. So for example, when the mixie and the fridge came, everybody was against it. But what it did to women and to restaurants and all these places is that it gave them an opportunity to do something else at that point of time. Use that time to do something else, evolve, and to gather some more information or knowledge, or just free time for yourselves. So similarly, now technology is there. But we as educators also understand the sensorial integration that is required, the developmental stages that the child has to go through, the skills that we need to enable a child to have, and more importantly, value-based education, empathy, and all these things that you want the child to have, because we know the good side of living before technology, right? So I think number one is to understand how can we weave technology into our lives along with what we already cherish. So during the pandemic for 2 years, we actually were ready with an online model of school 8 years back. So when pandemic came, we just moved into it. We used the pandemic for something really, really beautiful. The children stayed online for a couple of hours every day. There was no chalk and talk at all. It was all conversations and presentations and all these things because they lacked social interaction. The second thing we did was we gave parents a lot of activities to do completely manned by us so that they can spend time with the child constructively, because right now parents who have children are those that do not know what to do with those children. Because the children are quite ahead, the parents are not trained. These are those same people who prepared for IIT, JEE from 6th grade and hence have no connection with humanity, right? So that is one, the second thing we did. Third is we allowed them to travel. So we had so many people who traveled, and the flexibility of offices also helped it. So people learned what can be travel schooling, what can be homeschooling, what can be alternate schooling, what can we do, what does it mean to just take a month's break. Our LMS supported them. Learn anytime, anywhere. One of the key issues of our country is impact. It's also reach. And it is personalization and flexibility. These are going to be key words. You don't even eat an ice cream without tasting all the flavors nowadays, and then you also can personalize ice creams, right? When you don't do that also, then how can you just dole out education that is generalized? So you're going to have AI, especially AR, VR. I consult a lot of edtech companies, and I'm telling you, the next thing I want to do, if at all there's a company ready, is to see how AR can get into a classroom and personalize education for children despite having 200 children in the classroom. Because that's the reality of our country. We all sitting here have 60, 40, 30, 20 children in our class. That's not the reality of our country. We would like to utilize all of these technologies so that we can reach people, we can have flexibility in education, and we can personalize education, because that's the future, I feel. Thank you.
So a real technocrat, if we can call her one. Nice answers, ma'am, real nice answers. I really like the way you said, even while traveling, your education is not hampered. Even being at home, your education is not hampered. I really have those takeaways. Nicely said, ma'am. So, 3 questions before I end the panel for this August gathering and the senior panelists here. Do you guys remember your first day in standard 8th or 9th or 10th or 11th? How many of you remember your days in the first day of school in 8/9/10/11? No, none of you remember. Super. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Couple of us here. All right, super. In our times, we used to be slapped by teachers and punished by teachers. I have had multiple such occasions. I don't know about you guys, but if there are any of my kind here, how many of you remember how many times have you been slapped? 1, 2. She's a very nice lady. A very real-time answer she's given. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Super. How many of you remember Sholay? Lovely. How many of you remember? You have seen Jailer? Yet to watch. Please watch. Then I'll talk to you in the next panel. I heard Rajni fan, so I'm telling you, please watch. So a Jailer, a Sholay, it's an experience. Sholay came in 75, you guys would have watched it somewhere between 75 and 80 and 85 or even 90. Not beyond 90, I don't think. But for the time that it came on TV, I don't think you would have gone to the theatre and watched it after 90. We're in 2023 today. Even after 23, 25, 30 years, you remember it. Do you all remember it? Even if somebody comes late, what do people say? What do people say? Bachchan samjhaye kya? Right? So it happens even today, 30 years down the lane, because that was an experience. So anything which is an experience is in your mind always. Stephen Covey, the leading management guru, he says, all learning is social, all learning is emotional. Right? It's only the learning that we carry forward. Rest all we leave it here. Right? So chat GPTs are tools to enhance the learning ability and capability of both the student and the teacher. What is the right mix? How much of it you want to use and inculcate in the classroom? How do you use? These are things that you and your management need to sit together and decide upon. Right? Otherwise, technology is used, is there, it's available. Even WhatsApp is available. Many use it, there are advantages, there are disadvantages. So the right mix, please find what is right for your school, what is right for your student, what is right for me at Ahmedabad may not be right for here at Bangalore, right? So we need to find our right mix. With that, thank you very much for this opportunity. Great learning from you all. Thank you very much.
Sound check. Thank you so much. Can we have a huge round of applause for our first panel? Requesting all of you to please stay right here. Requesting our moderator to please felicitate all our speakers on stage. Can we have the mementos on stage, please? We'll just take one picture and requesting the moderator to hand over the mementos to all the speakers.
ಸೈಡ್ ಪ್ರಮೋದ್ ಒಂಚೂರು ಜಾಗ ಈ ಕಡೆ
Requesting Mr. Manish Naidu to please come forward on stage and hand over the memento to our moderator for the session. Can we have a huge round of applause for our very first panel for the day, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all of you for joining us in today here. Thank you so much. It was an honor having all of you here today. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving forward for our very first set of awards today, Visionary Edu Leader Awards 2023. And to give away the following set of awards, I request Mr. Sandeep to please come on stage. Can I request Mr. Sandeep Gulati, the founder and CEO of Universal Mentors Association, to please come on stage. Requesting Mr. Manish to please stay back on stage. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want each one of you from the audience to give a huge round of applause to all our awardees while they walk themselves on stage. It is the way that you can appreciate and honor an awardee. With that, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm sorry I'm cutting you off in between. I want everyone to welcome our very own Dr. Manjula Pooja Shroff, who is the CEO of Calorix Group. A huge round of applause. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us.
Thank you so much. With that, ladies and gentlemen, welcoming the very first awardee on stage, I take the privilege to welcome Ms. Supriya Matthew on stage. Can we have a huge round of applause for Ms. Supriya Matthew? Ma'am, are you around? Alright. I request Ms. Supriya Matthew, if you're around, please bring yourself on stage. Thank you. Moving on, do we have Ms. Supriya Matthew in house today? We're here with us. Alright, the last paging call for Ms. Supriya Matthew. With that, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to our next awardee, I request Gopal Krishna Lanka to please come on stage. Can we have a huge round of applause for Mr. Gopal Krishna? Alright, so do we have Mr. Gopal Krishna here with us? Alright, moving on, up next, welcoming the beautiful Miss Varsha Kokil on stage. Do we have Miss Varsha Kokil in the house? Miss Varsha, are you here? Alright, the ladies here, can we have a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, Visionary Edu Leader for 2023. Since we have the very first awardee on stage, I want the audience to put your hands together really loud. This is the 8th Edu Leader Summit 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, up next on stage, I request Mr. Mukesh Ranjan to join us on stage. Mr. Mukesh Ranjan, sir, you here? Right there. Can we have a huge round of applause as we have Mr. Mukesh Ranjan walking on stage, ladies and gentlemen. With that audience together, can we have a huge round of applause? Congratulations, this is the Visionary Edu Leader Award 2023. Up next, I'd like to welcome Dr. Ravi Kumar Tata. Sir, are you here? Congratulations. Taking the moment out and welcoming Dr. Ravi Kumar Tata on stage. Can we have a huge round of applause for him? With that, ladies and gentlemen, welcoming our next awardee on stage, Dr. Prakash Kondikar. Sir, are you here? Right there. The gentleman with a visionary view of education and the summit today here with us. Can we have a huge round of applause for Dr. Prakash making his way on the stage? With that, welcoming on stage Miss Shanti from MS Ramaya School, the lady from the very front table. To all the ladies in the house, can we have a huge round of applause for her? Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, how many of you are hungry from the audience here? How many of you are hungry? Oh, nobody is hungry, is it? I can do 2 more sessions, then I can only see 2 ladies raising their hands up. With that, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to Ms. Shanti on stage from MS Ramaya School. Thank you so much, Manisha, for doing the honors.